Luke Pollard here, I'm your Member of Parliament. Brexit is the biggest issue affecting our country. And since the referendum in 2016, the government has been arguing with itself about what type of Brexit deal it should be negotiating with the EU, what its position is, and what it wants from the whole process. It's been a shambolic process, but we've got to the end of this part of this process because the Prime Minister has agreed a Brexit deal with the European Union. Now, I've been clear from the moment I was elected in 2017 that I wanted to get into the detail of Brexit, not just talk about the sound bites. It's really important for Plymouth that we have a good Brexit deal that protects our jobs, supports our industries locally, from fishing through to high value manufacturing, enables our young people and our students to study at home and abroad, and make sure that we retain the environmental protections and the workers' rights that we have at the moment. I've hosted 4 Brexit summits in Plymouth, enabling businesses, trade bodies, individuals, members of the public to come along and share their views with me about Brexit. And from that, I've published my 10 principles. These are things that affect Plymouth from the Brexit process, so I can be clear when the vote happens what I'm voting on. Now, Labour has said that we won't vote for a bad deal, and that's the right thing to do. We've published our 6 tests. Now, these are tests that are commitments given by Conservative ministers from the referendum and from the election since about their promises over Brexit. When David Davis spouted out giving his view, or when other ministers have done so as well, we've taken those promises made to the electorate and we're using them as our tests. If Theresa May's deal passes those 6 tests, I'll vote for it. If it doesn't pass those 6 tests, I won't. Because I won't vote for a bad deal for Plymouth. I said in the general election that if I was elected as an MP, I wouldn't vote to cut Plymouth's budgets to make sure we're getting the support and the funding we need. Now, the Conservative MPs have had many years of cutting our budgets, but I said I wouldn't do that. And that same principle applies to Brexit. I won't vote to make our city poorer, to damage jobs and employment prospects, and to limit and degrade environmental and workers' rights. That's not something that I'm going to do. So I haven't seen Theresa May's full deal yet. She's keeping it closely guarded. But when I do, I will read it, and Labour will test it against our 6 tests. I'll look at it against those 10 Brexit principles that came from my Brexit summits. And if it passes those tests, then I'll vote for it. And if it doesn't, I'll vote it down. Now, there's lots of people getting in touch with me about Brexit, very fearful of the process. I know people in Plymouth are changing their mind about Brexit. I see it in my inbox every single day. I won't vote for a bad deal for Plymouth. And if we vote this deal down, then Labour will call for a general election. Because this government, well, you probably know my opinion on this government, but this government needs to get its act in order. We want a general election if the deal is voted down. If we can't have a general election, then all options are on the table, including a people's vote where Remain is an option. I'll be keeping you up to date with what's happening around this Brexit process because I know just how many people in Plymouth are interested in it. And because I've had 4 Brexit summits already, the principle of consulting people to getting people's views is something that I feel really strongly about. So in the next couple of days, I'll be announcing more open public meetings for people in Plymouth to be able to share their views around Brexit with me. I know there are strong views on all sides of the argument in relation to Brexit. I've set out my stall about my priorities, protecting jobs, making sure that we have high standards. And if the deal passes those, I'll vote for it. I suspect it won't though, because over the last 2.5 years, we've seen a government at war with itself, more focused on the interests of the Conservative Party rather than the interests of our country. The South West always gets left out from this government. They don't think about us, they don't fund us properly, and I don't think they would have taken in our priorities in these Brexit negotiations either. Over the next couple of weeks, MPs will be debating Brexit as we get closer to the deal. I'm really worried that the uncertainty and the chaos surrounding Brexit is damaging our economy in Plymouth. We've already seen businesses announce they're leaving our city because of Brexit. I don't want any more businesses to leave. I want us to protect our jobs that we've got and as your MP, that will be one of my priorities in the next couple of weeks. This is a bit of a long video for me, but I wanted to set out my position clearly on Brexit so you all understood. Thanks very much, Plymouth. See you soon.